Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. We're on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Podcasts everywhere, also YouTube, Facebook, and talklawradio.com. Be aware that I recently redesigned talklawradio.com, and there's an easy way for you to show interest in the show by letting us know if you want to sponsor the show in part or whether you want to be a guest. Let us know what you want to talk about, or if you have questions or ideas on legal issues you think people should be aware of, click the Ask a Question button and I'll respond as soon as I can. I'm here with Adam Turcotte with 10X Arms, who is a gunsmith and also Class 3 license holder, which means that he can sell suppressors, which are super helpful if you want to protect your own hearing, even during hunting season, which is coming up. So why don't you say something about that real quick? What's the process for getting a suppressor?
You basically have to submit your fingerprints, passport photo. You need to have some kind of, either you're registering as an individual, or a lot of people, for the protection and flexibility of it, will do it as a trust, so you're able to bring people in and out of the trust, family members, friends, that are legally able to purchase something like that or possess something like that. Silencers, it's one of those, it's like a scope. It's necessary. You can go to plenty of other countries, Europe, New Zealand, you name it, and silencers are like a scope accessory. It helps one with the wildlife around you, not scaring everything away, keeping everything more natural, as well as, of course, our hearing. I do not understand why it's as regulated as it is, but it's.
Well, I think it's the movies.
Yes, I think in the name silencer, they think it makes it silence, and the person that thinks that has never been around one that's actually been fired. Because the first time someone hears it, they're like, "Oh wow, that's a lot louder than I thought." It was like, yes, that's called reality, but it serves its purpose well. It does help with accuracy. It helps, like I said, not scare everything away, and I want to be able to hear it. So
it suppresses the loud noise. It doesn't eliminate it.
Yes, it's suppressing the gases, the explosion, from that, and just trying to mitigate that to where, we're not causing damage every time we pull the trigger, when we are out hunting.
And so when somebody wants one, they let their FFL dealer know. They fill out all that paperwork, and you actually have to pick something out. You just don't get to take it home.
Right. It's one of those, hey, you could buy it now, we could do the paperwork for it now, and in 9 months or so, whenever the ATF, approves of it, then you can take it home. They recently did an e-forms, where they moved everything from mailing and paperwork to, we're going to be doing it electronically, submitting everything. And their idea was trying to get it down to 90 days, and that lasted about 90 days. And now, so we're back down to the 9 months mark. Yeah, it's government competency for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's if you're interested in a suppressor, now you know where to get one. Do you have a website or a phone number that people should call?
Just phone number 210-462-6401. You can look me up. I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, under 10X Arms. You pretty much, I like face-to-face, word of mouth. It is the best form of advertisement, so I really don't do much marketing. It's I have a great group of clients. They keep me really busy, and like I said, word of mouth is the best. So
yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about Texas versus ATF and Mock versus Garland. These are court cases that are challenging the regulation of calling a stabilized pistol brace pistol a short-barreled rifle, right?
Yeah, it's one of those where they said it helps improve accuracy, it makes it more deadly, things like that. And it's I think it is just a politician's way of doing something. Just do something, because I mean, if you take that same mentality and the scope that I put on my hunting rifle makes it more accurate, so you could automatically just mix that into it. I put a lighter trigger into my hunting rifle, and all of a sudden that makes it more accurate. So do all those need to be regulated as well, under that mentality?
So by calling this type of pistol with a brace a short-barreled rifle, that means that now if you have one, you have to get the tax stamp, right?
Right. It's another way for them to just build a database, essentially. Just get everything registered, versus hey, you buy a receiver, or you make a receiver yourself, and then all of a sudden, if you put it in that configuration, I guess it makes it more deadly somehow. I don't understand the mentality behind that one.
Yeah, the fact that it's deadly wasn't a problem for the founding fathers to build this Second Amendment into our Constitution.
Unless you put that little piece of plastic on the back. That's
Right. So the Bruin case, Supreme Court case, which gives courts the standard by which to judge whether a regulation is constitutional or not, first says that the court has to determine whether the new regulation touches the Second Amendment. And this stabilizing brace rule obviously does touch the Second Amendment because it involves a firearm directly.
Sure. It's just it's a way for them to kind of get their foot in the door, a little bit more control.
And so then the second step is going to be for the court to determine, are there any regulations in history going back to 1791 when the Second Amendment was ratified with the Constitution? Are there any regulations that would have been on firearms and the composition and makeup of parts? That's my guess. That's what. Can you find, where George Washington said we really ought to make sure that this pistol doesn't have this, that, or the other? I don't think they're going to find anything.
No, and if anything, if you really look at history and some of the stuff that they had back in those days, it's pretty amazing, and it'd be a lot of fun if we had some of those things now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some cool toys.
Okay. Well, they have to not only just get the parties and their lawyers to do this historical analysis, but the district judge that I heard speak earlier in the week said that some courts have interpreted that analysis to mean that you need an expert historian to not only explain that there was this law then, but also explain the context in which the law was passed.
Yeah, define expert.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it's kind of...
They're going to have to be evaluated.
They could find somebody that'll fit the narrative one way or another.
Yeah. But each side of the case is going to be able to bring their own expert. And there was a recent case where the parties didn't do that. They didn't have an expert. They just brought some historical materials to the court, and the court said since the prosecutor failed to bring an expert, it's unconstitutional because it was up to the prosecution to prove that the regulation was constitutional, and they didn't have an expert. They didn't carry their burden of proof. And so I think that's going to raise the stakes on all parties to go hire somebody to be the expert. And so if you know a lot about history, you might start building your resume as an expert historian.
I'd love to sit in front of courts.
And be badgered by attorneys. Yeah, that's probably not too much fun.
No, I'll deal with the guns. They don't speak back as much.
So there was an attempt to have a joint resolution about the pistol brace. U.S. Senator Deb Fischer released a statement after voting in favor of legislation to prevent the Biden administration, ATF, from enforcing the pistol stabilizing brace rule, but that bill failed to pass the Senate 49-50. So the Senate is trying to get involved, but it's such a hot button issue. I'm not sure what the Congress and the Senate can do to get anything passed from either party. That's why the Biden administration just did this through rulemaking, because Biden chose the head of the ATF, and he said, "You changed the rule," and they didn't require 435 legislators to vote.
Yeah, I think it's the amount of people, especially through the COVID lockdowns and mostly peaceful protest riots, the amount of people that bought firearms that were on the fence is well above what they would like. And I think they know that if Congress actually tries to take a stand one way or another, that they're going to get stepped on pretty hard by the majority of Americans. And they really don't want to know what that true number is.
Yeah, they're going to get voted out of office.
Yes, and so that's where I think for them to do a little backdoor deal through just executive orders, et cetera, it's that I think that they feel that's their only way to do it, because people won't stand for true gun control.
Yeah, no. So I sort of want to hear from people if anonymously or not, if you bought something that was legal at the time, but because of changes in definitions have made such item illegal, let me know. I want to hear more about what's happening with people and how you feel about these regulations. If you don't speak up, then you might lose your rights. And so we have to do more to make our voices heard when we want our Second Amendment rights protected. So you can email me at host@talklawradio.com, or you can go to the website at talklawradio.com and hit the ask a question button and just leave me a comment with or without your name. Thank you for being on the show. We ran out of time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Your historical analysis was on point. And good luck this season with finishing all those firearms for people.
Thank you. Yeah, time to get to work.
All right. And thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.